Baby Squad members. Time for a pre-flight checklist. First, are you subscribed? Next, make sure you have all notifications turned on. You've hit that bell. All set? Now let's get out there and let's have a great flight.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dano channel. I am Dano, and thank you for being a part of this live stream, this discussion that we're going to have. I've got a couple guests. The first guest that I'm going to bring on here is Sarah J. Mack. Hi, Sarah. You're on the different side this time. You know what? Let's switch that around.
Hello, friend.
Hi. Welcome. Glad to see you here.
It feels more comfortable, thanks.
This is better, more like it. Well, we're going to change it up because I've got two more guests that are going to be joining us, too. I've got Brian from Always Believe. Brian...
Fair enough.
Well, he'll be here in just a second. I think he stepped away for a minute. Oh, I can hear him, but I can't see him yet. And I also have Mike from Hondo Supply. There we go. Okay, cool. So everybody's here. How are y'all doing today? I'm going to move
This feels like
Mike,
a game show.
Right? Or Brady Bunch. That feels a little better. You look good. You sound good. I think we just need Brian's camera, and then we'll be all set. Now, did you guys... I know, Sarah, you watched my video, my thoughts and opinions. Mike, did you catch any of that? Any of my position of...
I did.
Okay.
I did. You've been pretty spot on, Dano. You know, I think that's why we decided to go on this voyage together, man.
Right? I'm still feeling good about it. But, so, what I want to do in this next, chunk of time that we've got some of you here for, not everyone can stay the whole time. And we're going to have more guests popping up a little bit later, too. So... what I want to do is kind of get your guys' thoughts, but I want to let everyone in the live chat right now know that we're all going on the three of us who are on screen right now, we're all going on March 3rd.
Yeah.
We're all going on the same trip. So we kind of all have the same stuff at stake here. It's going to be fun. Oh, there we go. I think Brian's coming back in here. Let me add him.
Yeah, we have no idea what to expect.
Hey, guys.
There we go. Hey, Brian, what's going on, man? I'm so glad you could be here.
I don't know if the dark side or space overtook the screen for a minute. I was in a void.
We're just happy you're here, man. Just happy to have you here. So, Brian, you are going on the Galactic Starcruiser also. It's one of the reasons I wanted you to be on here. A, because I love your channel, but B, you have the same stakes that we all do. We're actually all going. We're booked on the first 2 voyages. You just changed yours to the first one, right?
Yeah, just keeping that a secret, but.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I didn't know. But we're all going to be going on the first few voyages, and so we have the opportunity of sharing that feedback with everybody. I take that seriously. I think that's really important. I'm pretty sure you do too, Brian. You guys, the way you guys present the info and everything is always great. So what I wanted to do is kind of measure where everybody else's hype level is. What are your guys' concerns right now? Because the fandom's in a weird spot. We're definitely in a weird spot. Some of the promo that's come out hasn't been very well received. So let's start with you, Mike. I'm gonna do the Brady Bunch thing and point to whoever. So Mike, I kind of want to know where you're at. What was your hype level before, and kind of where are you right now?
I'm gonna crack a beer.
Oh, I've got a Jedi mind trick ready to go with more on the side. So
I can just tell this is the way this conversation's gonna go. I think there's a couple of things. Brian and I both work in advertising, design, creative, professionally. I think that there is a part of what people are misunderstanding, that when you're launching a big production like this, I can assure you that they are going to be coding and creating and building things until the absolute last minute, because that's literally how these things go. But I do agree. I think that largely for the experience of what they're pushing this as, that we have gotten the creative, Brian, agree, disagree with me, has been lackluster in terms of what we've seen. I mean, we've seen the costume representations, which again, people forget that there are going to be multiple captains, right? There are going to be multiple characters that are playing one character, right? There's going to be multiple people, actors. But we've gotten almost like they look like they're on set photos that haven't been doctored. We've gotten official key art, but we haven't really gotten, in my opinion, like a really strong presence of what the experience is going to look like. It's been a lot of promotional video, but a lot of the stuff that we've seen doesn't exactly represent, I think, what you're going to experience. It's like watching a Ride of Resistance walkthrough on YouTube. Because you could watch that and you'd go, oh, that doesn't look that exciting. But if you're in the seat, you are losing your mind. And so I feel like we're getting this like teasered representation of what it's actually going to be like. And that part of me feels like Disney, for all of their creative power, they're worthy of a little criticism at this point. Doesn't make me feel any less excited because I work in this industry. I know how that goes.
Yeah, I could second Mike on that a bit. I feel like a bit this experience is like you're wanting the most amazing thing for Christmas. You've been waiting all year for it. You've been hyped up, or even just like a movie. And you open the package and you're like, oh, I got socks? Or I don't want to say it like that, but there was just something, again, like you said about the presentation, it was lacking the true emotion. It was lacking genuine fans being there. And again, I think because it's actors doing it too. This is something that I strive to do on YouTube as well. And a lot of people who make YouTube content is trying to be your most authentic self all the time, because people can really see through if you're being fake about something.
For sure. For sure.
And unfortunately, the actor from the Goldbergs was he was doing his best and he was acting, but it just wasn't coming across. And again, so many things went into, I think, people's initial reactions to seeing this experience too. I know I'm getting off a little topic, but first off, the experience is super expensive, so that already shuts a large amount of people out of the experience.
Yeah.
And then people, so they're already hating. And then people see what we're actually getting, and they're even more like, well, screw you guys. You're not even giving us something cool. I don't know. As far as, though, like you were saying, the marketing, I think it's just, they're not showing us everything yet for good reasons. Like, I didn't even actually watch a lot of this stuff until watching the live stream that you two did last week. I was trying to avoid it for a little bit, but I realized, like, maybe I need to watch this because I'm a little concerned now, too.
And so
like you said,
I think part of the reason why they do that stuff is because they need to educate us on the story.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they have those little events and stuff. And that's why I'm trying to be big on pushing it out, because I know not everybody, and, you know, Brian, I consider you a big fan, but not even you were up on it. So I try to regurgitate a lot of that information back out to the audience, or at least the people that care about Starcruiser, just to get it out there so people will learn before the cruise kind of what they need to know, and the expectations are either tempered or, you know, put in the right place.
I think also, like Mike was saying, just as far as being somebody working in the industry a bit and doing marketing, doing something kind of within that realm. And even, I'll be honest, on Life Day, I got to speak to a gentleman who works directly for Disney. He's one of the creatives who creates a lot of merchandise. They were there on Life Day just seeing how the experience went down with all the cool new Life Day merchandise they did for Batu. And I spoke to him for like half an hour. And you could just tell, I mean, there was a number of these guys there, and they're all super passionate Star Wars fans like us, just trying to make cool things for us to enjoy. And I think he had alluded to that they made a lot of the merchandise that's upcoming for this experience too. And I was just there to pick his brain a little bit, and also just to reinforce to him, like we're always doing, Dano, like we love Batu, we love all the little subtle details and the things you guys have created for us. And so much of this, I think, like you were just saying, instructional wise, so much of this stuff just goes over the general public's head, and they don't even notice these things. And I just wanted them to understand that we appreciate the things that they're trying to do. But I think that's actually partly a concern. There's so many super fans who are making these videos critiquing everything. Like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they make this completely other experience that has nothing to do with what they're trying to make? But that's what I want, so I'm going to hate what they made. I've heard a lot of reviews from people like that. I think it's good that we're making this video right now to talk, because we need to help people understand what is this actual experience. It's a cruise in space, just like a Disney cruise, but it's a Star Wars cruise in space. So
yeah,
that's like
it's not a hotel.
Story.
That's the thing, is it's not just a Star Wars
more.
hotel. It's way more, and
It's even more
that's
than
a
cruise.
It is, and it also costs more than a cruise.
Yes, but it's a full like LARP for 2 nights. You're live, like, you come up with a character if you want to, a backstory, a new name, costuming, like, you get to be somebody else in the Star Wars universe for 2 full days. Well, 2-ish days. And I think that's the thing, is that we've never experienced anything like this as fans of any kind of fandom. You know, playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're not out there in the forest and, you know, encountering castles and all these. I don't play D&D, but you're not doing those things. This is something where you physically get to live in a Star Wars universe, eat Star Wars food, live a Star Wars story, and no one has ever experienced this yet, so expectations are high. We want it to be incredible, and anytime you see something that maybe doesn't meet those really high expectations that you set, you may feel disappointed, but that's you putting your expectations all the way up here too. This experience is going to be what you make of it.
There is something to be said too, that I will also say this in terms of, obviously we're all super fans, but there are realistic expectations of, you know, I saw someone critiquing that it looked too much like a hotel hallway. And I'm like, well, let me remind you that there are codes. There are literally building codes that you have to have, right? So I'm very tragic that this an exit sign in English is going to deter you from experiencing this, because they have to have it in there by law, because again, we're still on Earth today. So there's a little bit of that understanding of going, and the scope of it. If you wanted a fully immersive, you know, adult-focused experience, I guarantee you it would cost even twice as much as this experience costs now, because that's having fully dedicated, consistent actors without a focus for kid enjoyment too. And if you wanted something like that, I would say that it would cost even more money than we're paying now. This is like trying to teach to the center of the class. So that's something to consider too.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's a hard net to cast, right? Because it's an impossible net to cast, really. No matter what, you're going to end up with some section of the level of fandom that's not going to like what you did. It's either not enough, or it's too much, or they don't get it. And it's
just like the TV shows too. There's such a broad
exactly.
range of people who
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of negativity I've heard towards the experience from people who have made videos too. A lot of these people seem to be like, I don't like the sequels. This is more sequel garbage. How dare they don't give us what we want? And I'm like, that's not what this is about. This is not what this is. This is a continuation of Batuu. It's an extra experience that goes with those parks. And yes, those are set in the sequel universe currently.
And so to that, earlier I was saying in my video that they overpromised on Galaxy's Edge and didn't deliver. Part of that, I think, is finally going to come true. Some of those story elements were baked into this Galactic Starcruiser. And now we're actually going to get to maybe see some of that full vision they were talking up back in 2019, because there's going to be more play elements. And maybe, like, I'm guessing the datapad will be in its actual final form instead of this, like, kind of half measure that we got. So I'm hoping that now, because the Galactic Starcruiser got delayed. It was supposed to be open a year or two ago. There wasn't supposed to be as much of a gap, but the pandemic changed a lot of that.
What happened? I mean,
right?
Yeah, what happened in the last couple of years?
People forget that.
I'm trying to forget.
And they were designed and built in tandem as a big cohesive experience. So I think once it opens, I think it's actually going to make Batuu, specifically Batuu East, better. You know, even though not everybody's going to get to, I think our experience afterwards is going to be like, I look at Galaxy's Edge a little bit different now. And there's, you know, like, it's changed for me for the better. I hope that's what happens because of the way it was designed at the same time. But we'll see.
I think that there's also a part of it, though, let me just also add to this, is that we have to also expect, and I don't know if everyone knows this, but I assume most people who are watching this know this. You know, there are different unions within Disney, right? And the reason that Kylo Ren and the Stormtroopers repeat the same phrases because Disney doesn't actually pay them to be actors. They have all the voices pre-modulated in the gloves, right? So you're getting to work you're going to experience this entirely with the Actors Guild within Disney. And there's no way we can keep that on the rails besides maybe droids and a couple other things. So the immersion already is there because we get to experience other people who are literally acting to encourage us to be a part of this, right? And what I think that what the Starcruiser is also going to do is also simultaneously serve as a testing site to see how far we can get more immersion in a controlled environment with people, to see how we can take that out to Batuu, because I know that there were a lot of different experiences that they had conceptualized for Batuu, but Batuu hasn't been that open for that long, considering that it was closed in West for an entire year, right? So there is a ton of information that they haven't been able to gather yet, just because it hasn't been open for that long, right? And so I think that this Starcruiser experience is going to be a test and a data gather to see how people would interact with something that, say, goes off the rails. More acting, more interactive experiences. Consider that too.
Yeah, I wonder what the percentage of people that are going to play is, though. You know, I mean, I know we're going to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they say in the marketing and the little promo videos where the Imagineers sit around a table, they're saying it's going to be for everybody, for the people who love Star Wars and the people who love them, right? So not, grandma may not be into it, or whoever may not be as into it. I just wonder what that percentage is going to be and how that's going to change over time. Because initially, I'm guessing it's going to be much higher. We're all excited. We all want to go. We want to do this. We want to get dressed up. And so that's the big initial hype, this group of us. Over time, especially as the feedback rolls out and our real honest feedback comes out and what the experience was, how does that start to change? Does it get better? Does it get bigger? Is the data, it's just kind of hypothetical. Those are the things I think of is when I think about how this all is going to end up playing out. Is that going to change the experience? A lot of people say, they're going to end up lowering the prices, or they're afraid that it's going to fail and they're going to change it into something else. I'm like, wait, it hasn't even opened yet. Cool your jets. It's not even, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Calm down.
Sarah, how far out is it booked?
So there's 7 months available for booking. The first 4 months are completely sold out. You may get a cancellation here or there. Nobody wants to go, right?
So to that, then, there were some cancellations. That's the other thing. A lot of the haters will bring up is, it's a failure because people are canceling and they're canceling. Which the 90-day window is rolling up every day. There's another cruise that's the full payments due, or else they lose half of it, right? So
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So there will be cancellations. It's gonna happen. So while, yes, there's some truth to that, some people are seeing the promo and being like, that looks bad, I don't want any part of that, get me out of this. That makes sense, I get it. But there's also some people who are like, you know what, maybe I don't want to spend the $6,000 on that yet. I'll wait. So let me get out while I still can. I'll come back later. So with that, have you seen if they've gotten bought back up pretty quickly? Because every day there's going to be more, a couple more cancellations as the calendar moves. So they are getting bought back up.
Yep. So when I called in the other day, there was one cabin available for the very first voyage. They didn't cancel. They had to move because their kid had some sports tournament that was going to be taking place on March 1st. So they had to move theirs out. So it's not necessarily cancellations. It could be changing dates for, real life things that are going on. But yeah, it's what I've seen more is cancellations around the 90-day mark and not necessarily from the backlash. And I'll tell you this, I have booked dozens of Starcruiser voyages, parties, one cancellation so far.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a very small percentage.
See, it's different when you get feedback from an actual travel agent who does the bookings as opposed to people who are just mad. Oh, they're canceling it because it's terrible, So that's why I'm glad we have you here as a good resource to actually drop some reality on this. So that's good. Let me try to think where I'm going to put some stuff on the screen. I've been putting a lot of people's comments on the screen, positive and negative. I'm not trying to if someone has something bad to say, I'm gonna show, as long as it's not profane or ridiculous. I'm trying to put a lot of this stuff on the screen, just so we can kind of see it. I want their voices to be heard and shown in this video because it's real feedback from real people. But I'm curious in the chat, how many of you people, if you can leave a thumbs up emoji, if you're actually booked on a cruise, are you actually booked on a Galactic Starcruiser voyage? If so, leave a thumbs up emoji. I'm curious to see what that looks like, or and maybe if you're leave a thumbs down emoji if you're just curious, or a fire emoji, something else. But thumbs up if you're actually booked and you're actually planning on going. Siri,
And
sorry.
thank you to everybody who is here hanging out with us right now. I see there's
Absolutely.
50 of you guys here hanging out, and anybody.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Future watchers,
Future watchers.
questions and comments too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because I'm going to come back to this and kind of read them and answer what I can. So I'm seeing a good amount of thumbs up already. I'm going to throw them on the screen just so we can see who is going to be going here. We've got Resurrection, we've got Wally, CGS Props, Nick Kavanaugh is going. I've got Jason's going.
Ooh, I see
Aaron's
some of my clients in
going.
here.
There you go. Tyler's tour reviews is booked and going. See a couple thumbs down. People aren't going yet. Austin and Meredith are here. So another part of our group here.
Yep.
Jeff Clenard, nice.
I think there's a part of all of this that, again, like I said, Brian and I are kind of in this industry. Disney is, they are, in my opinion, they're worthy of the criticism right now, because we see, if you remember that original, what was the original like promotion for the thing where like the dad, like at the end kind of like looks over at his kid and they're like, come on, let's go. And he like puts up his Jedi robe. You remember that?
Yeah.
That to me had the like Disney shine to it, that was a production. And I feel like when we had even just the little teaser of the captain's outfit, it wasn't like professionally lit. It wasn't a professional photo. It almost looked like they just took a picture of the actor with a test fitting on like at the bridge. And Brian, you know this, like sometimes you the asset you get is the asset you get. And it's like, I gotta make this thing look good no matter what. And so there is a part of me that's kind of wondering when exactly we're going to really start to see this push. I got super excited when they had brought up the High Republic tie-in. For me, who's been someone who's been consuming those storylines, and literally probably about half an hour ago, they just dropped a new video game trailer called Eclipse, and it is blowing my mind right now. That's
I know. I picked the worst time to do a live stream during the video game awards.
It's insane, and it is also set in the High Republic. So I'm really excited because I know that a lot of people have been critical of the fact that, it's stuck in this like sequel timeline. I think there's going to be so much story building around the Halcyon, and the fact that Ashley Eckstein told us that Padme and Anakin have been on this ship. This ship has been around forever. So as a story nerd like me, bring it on. Like, let's go. That is.
I'm a little worried how old this ship is. Like, is it safe to still travel through space on?
And so speaking of that kind of fun story element, the video we got yesterday, the little travel announcement video that was released yesterday, they end with that big old disclaimer, which I thought was cute and fun. A lot of people are not liking it, but I thought it was cute and fun. I was like, this is very Star Tours vibes, which I'm all about. My channel logo is Star Tours. My droids are like I'm all about Star Tours. So this was right up my alley personally. But it was funny they added those little details.
It's very pre-show though. Like, if you go to the Disney parks and you ride any rides, that is a pre-show video.
It felt like a Disney, exactly.
I
Disney
wanted her to
presentation.
say, and fly. I was waiting for it. I was like, where is it? We're gonna get it. Or like, bring that dino back. We didn't get it, but it was that vibe exactly. It was
like
very
anything could happen. That just kind of. That's Disney rides. Disney rides always do that. Here you are on this setting, but anything could happen, and things go, off the rails. And so it's kind of neat that we're getting this kind of stuff. And I think people need to like lean into and learn what it is. It's not going to be this like just lightsaber fighting and that's it. It's still a Disney experience. So it's going to be run through the Disney filter, which not everybody loves. I understand, but I think the fact that they're tying everything in. Like you're saying, with the comic series, we're going to learn about where it started with the same species as Babu Frick but in the High Republic. We've got, everyone's been on there. Lando's been on this. Hondo's been on this. Han and Leia, I think, was kind of hinted at. They didn't say it, but it was hinted at that they were going to be on it. So we're going to learn. Ara Singh and Zam Wessel. There's a big history here, and it is going to be a lot of fun digging into those stories. But that's the thing, not everybody does that. That's the hard part that I think the audience
that's what I
needs
wanted to add to what you were saying earlier, Dano, and something that I know personally Ashley and I have been trying to do at Batu since its incarnation is we realize this is a place where you can go and play and live out your own Star Wars fantasy. And even in that intro guest trailer thing that came out yesterday, she specifically says during it something to the extent of like, it's kind of up to you how much fun you're going to have, though, how much you're going to play and interact in this experience. So we've always tried to make videos on Always Believe to show people, hey, you can't just go to the park and expect the fun to happen for you. You have to put a little bit of effort into it, but you can have this magical experience, and here's some things that you can do to have the most fun on your trip to Batu. There is a lot of role-playing stuff you can do at Galaxy's Edge, and there's even more on this experience, and we haven't actually seen a lot of that yet, unfortunately. Because, I mean, obviously they don't want to completely spoil the experience yet for us. But
yeah, they can't give away too much.
No,
Right.
But that's a big reason why you and myself and Mike and Tara, we're all going to go like so early. Everybody's going, right? I missed that first part.
Oh, yeah. We're all going. We're all going. That's why we're here, yeah.
We want to go that first week because we want to make sure that a lot of this hate and negativity, which was so prevalent when Galaxy's Edge opened. And
Oh, sure. I mean, within a day, they were saying, "Oh, Galaxy's Edge is canceled. They're going to turn it into an Aladdin-themed thing." And here we are years later. But the negativity gets in people's heads, and then that gets clicks, and that tells the algorithm to show it to more people. And so it is this weird cycle. And you get it here on YouTube, where the outrage sells today. Okay, so the video that I posted, that 2-minute clip from yesterday, it did normal, like a normal video would perform for me, right? All of a sudden this morning, around 9:30, 10 o'clock, I started noticing a bunch of negative comments. Just kind of happened. And then I noticed the video took off. Thousands, and it's probably 12,000 views now, where it was at 2,000 this morning. It gained another 10 today, but it's nonstop negative comments. The algorithm picks that up. If it can elicit any kind of interaction out of you, positive or negative, it's easier to get negative. If it can elicit that reaction, it's going to say, cool, people are reacting. They're sitting through the whole video and they're clicking on it. Let's show it to a bunch of people. And so our social media is definitely feeding into that negativity and kind of breeding it and making it a little bit worse. So
hate is powerful, man.
It is.
It is, unfortunately, such a... I mean, it's so hard trying to make just positive content all the time on YouTube, because you realize this negative stuff is what people click on, and they want to feel that I'm in pain. I want everybody else to feel my pain, which is, I think, a big reason, again, with this experience being so expensive. This is not to put anybody down. A lot of people, again, cannot afford to do this. So they're already so mad at Disney for this, so now they're looking for any other reason to be pissed off.
Yep.
And again, I just want us all to be there that opening week. And who knows, the experience could be completely different than what we're even hoping it's going to be right now. But I know from Galaxy's Edge, all of us are probably so entertained just by walking into Doc Ondar's and looking up at the ceiling. I think that's beautiful. There's so many cool details all over the park always. And I want us to be there to appreciate those things and share those things and share that positive light and that hard work before people get in there and start squashing it and spreading all this hate for this place. Because they don't have to build this for us. Flat out, I'm always saying, they did not have to build Galaxy's Edge or any of this stuff for us. If you think they're doing that because they just want your money, that's not true. Because I'm, again, Mike and I work in this industry to an extent, and I love Star Wars. I want it to be the coolest thing in the world for everybody who's enjoying it. And I know the gentleman I spoke to from Imagineering, who's developing merchandise with the park, he was a massive fan, which is why we talked for half an hour. Yeah. They care about this place being cool. And, it's going to take time for it to evolve. But like you said, too, a big thing. Many, and I've heard this even from, other channels. I heard Fresh Baked and a gentleman on his podcast talking about how they don't care for Galaxy's Edge to the extent that we do, where they don't want to have to, role play when they go to the park. They just want to be entertained. They want to spend money and kind of walk like zombies in the park and say, hey, make me have fun. And it's you can't. That's not how life works. Nothing just comes like that. And that's why, again,
go watch a movie.
Yeah, that's why Ashley and I are always trying to be as silly and as fun and playful as we can when we're at the parks, because we want to show you, hey, it's so easy to entertain yourself. And you can have a good time. Just do these little things. You're missing everything because you're living in your cloud of hate and you're not looking around at everything around you. So we want to we all are going to hopefully shed light and positivity all over this experience. And that's my hope of going for that first opening weekend. And I don't know what you guys feel about that too.
Would you say that we're A New Hope, maybe?
Yes.
Nice, Sarah. Nice. I mean, to Brian's point, though, and something that we have to constantly remind ourselves about, right, is that if this, and I know that we have demographics and these things matter, right? I understand that if you're going to go to Disney, like I said, you're teaching to the middle of the class, right? Sometimes if you're an educator, you get really great kids and you get kids that aren't so good. And you've got to be able to like steer the ship. Everyone's on the same ship, right? And that heads up, if we go and start talking about an experience that we want to be wowed as adults, which is a much different experience than when you're a kid, right? And if we want to sit here and be negative about the fact that I didn't have as good of a time as this 10-year-old that was on the trip, who had his mind blown and will be a Star Wars fan for life, that content, that ability, that decision to feed Star Wars and continue to invest in Star Wars will go away. And that's why I think that it's really important to go, if people are just going to abuse the creators who get lucky enough to work within this franchise and whatever the medium is, if we keep shutting that down, eventually Disney, maybe, whoever it is, will go, it's not worth it anymore. People don't want to work on these projects anymore. And that's something to like come back to it. Remember, this is all designed to have fun because Star Wars makes us feel good. We're supposed to have fun when we watch Star Wars, right? Keep that in mind.
All right, so while you were talking, I have to say real quick, thank you to Sam for the Super Chat sticker. Much appreciated. And I want to announce that we've got another guest here. A very special guest, somewhat ordinary, but special guest nonetheless. Peter and Kitra are here. Thank you guys for hanging out. I know you guys were on the road. You had a day at Disneyland today, so welcome, welcome. Glad to see you. Oh, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we can't hear you. No.
Oh, no.
Let me... Oh, it says the guest has muted themselves, is what it's showing on my end.
You know...
It's all live, baby.
It's all the magic of live streams. Text me, yeah, send me a message. Send me a message. It
Brian,
says you've muted.
The Imagineer you were talking to, was his name John?
No, it was another guy. I didn't necessarily want to call him out or anything, but he was wonderful.
Sure.
Their whole team was great.
Okay.
I think I heard that.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. There you go. You're unmuted.
Okay.
Welcome. Welcome.
Why does this always happen to us?
We bring the
Happened to me
problems.
Hi, everybody. Sorry we're late.
Oh, no, I'm just glad you guys could be here. I'm glad. So
Yeah,
we've kind of been
we're
talking about the state. I'm sure you guys know, Peter. I've seen some of the tweets you shared about, your feedback on what we've seen in the promos so far. But we've kind of all been talking about what our hype level was, what our hype level is now regarding Galactic Starcruiser, and kind of any concerns we have. We all kind of have the same concerns for the most part, but I'm curious as to where are you guys right now as far as this? Still super excited, or?
I mean, I'll, to be honest with you, like the stuff that they're showing right now is not exciting me. What's exciting me more is like the stuff that they're presenting on these panels, like the stuff that you are relaying to your audience, like that mythology and stuff. That excites me a lot more, but it does worry me. Like some of these sets look very like more launch bay than Galaxy's Edge, is what I said.
Oh, no.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I think, and I could be wrong here, I think that these things aren't done. They're not lit. They're not stage lit. They're not finished. And Disney's like, we only got the hardcores to do the first 4 months of this thing. We need to like start selling the next 4 months. So we need to start promoting this. And they're like, oh, we only have these 2 rooms kind of finished.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, let's start showing those 2 rooms. And like, I feel like those 2 rooms aren't maybe indicative of what it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm
that's
still
fair.
very excited. I actually got very hyped when we saw like the singer and stuff. Like I was like, yes, this is what I want. So I don't know. I'm very excited. We're excited. We're gonna dress up and everything, and it's gonna be something that we've never done before, and I think it's gonna be really fun.
So you guys are going to go full costume?
You're going to do
We're-
bucket hats in
that's-
We
space?
hope so.
Yeah,
That's
we're
awesome.
gonna wear the Yoda bucket hat. No, yeah, we're gonna try. That's the plan. Hopefully.
That's honestly, I was a little curious if you were going to or not, but I love it. I can't wait to see what you guys
Yeah.
come up with and how that
We
goes
want
for you
to.
guys.
We want to.
Yeah. Okay,
We
that's
haven't
fair.
started looking yet.
Yeah.
It's gonna go quick.
Give
That
me
time is
ideas.
gonna go real fast.
I know. We need to start looking.
I'm in the same boat as y'all. I'm like, yeah, I want to dress up and be real cool. And then it's like, okay, we're less than 90 days away. And we've
I know.
Christmas and all these. It's going to be here before you know it. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
it is.
Hopefully we have costumes. I'm not showing up in my Star Wars shirts.
Just make it comfy, because I can admit, like, being in costume filming sometimes is really a pain in the butt. So, just
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just want to wear a hood. I just want the hood. I don't know like what kind of character I'm gonna be, but I just want a hood of some sort.
Here's
It's
my
very
question.
Star
I want to ask you guys this question. Like, you're on this thing for 2 days with the same group of people, and they want you to be into it. They want you to like be your character. I'm not sure if you guys heard about that playtest that they did for press, but there was like a moment there where some people were trying to get Chewbacca onto the ship, and you
Right.
had to like distract the First
Right.
Order to get Chewbacca onto the ship. There's a First Order officer there, and what I'm thinking is, if that happens during the beginning of our cruise, if I'm playing First Order sympathizer, and I'm like, Chewbacca's right over there, he's right over there.
Are people
and like,
gonna get mad
then
at
they
us?
catch him, and that affects and that changes the course of the journey. Now am I the asshole of April?
Yes. Yes,
You
you
are,
are.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, now is everyone gonna hate me on that trip for the like next 2 days because
You're
I
going
was
out
guy
the
that-
airlock, Peter. Right
Longer.
after that.
Longer than 2 days.
That is.
It's going to end up being like the Stanford prison experiment.
No, there is a
Wow.
brig though. There is a
No.
jail, so it's
They
possible.
took that off of the floor
I gotta
plan.
get
Did
in
you
that
see
jail.
No.
It
Did they
doesn't
take
say
it
brig
off?
anymore. Go look.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Because
but oh yeah,
when
go
they
ahead.
did the whole sneak peek with the kid from the Goldbergs, and they're in that hallway. We were like, what hallway is that? So we pulled up the floor plans on My Disney Experience, and we're looking. It's the elevator lobby for like not even the floor of the atrium. He's walking into the restroom technically, not Sublight Lounge.
That's right.
Oh no! But we're like on our apps and we're looking, and we're like, I was like, wait, where's the brig? They used to say there was a brig on there, and it doesn't say it anymore.
It does. I see it.
Oh.
I do
Does
see it
it?
on my end. Yes, I see.
I did
It's
not
got an
see it
arrow
when I
off
looked
to
at
the
it.
side, but it does say brig. I don't know how well that's
Okay.
gonna show up, but it does still have brig on
Okay,
there.
good.
So good.
Okay. All right.
So that exists. So maybe Chewie
was-
gets thrown in the brig, and we have to spring him out on being part of the
Maybe.
resistance. I want to get thrown in the brig, to be honest. I want to see what that's all about. I'm curious if they'll actually
There's
put
no
people in
way.
there.
There's no way
That's a
they'll
good
put
question.
people in
But
there.
do these storylines repeat? Like, if Peter said that to Chewie and that storyline played out, would Chewie come back out again for the next group and do that, or does it affect everybody, or is it just individual? Kind of like how Galaxy's Edge is, they repeat similar storylines with each guest.
Yeah, like how
it might be a little
permanent are
complex.
our actions and these consequences within our 48 hours or 46 hours or whatever? Are these things like, yeah, I don't know how that's going to be. And so I think that's what's going to be really the driving factor of what makes this good or not. More so than what the set pieces look like and what the characters look like. It's really going to be how well do those actors keep us there, keep us playing, and how well does the whole setup keep us involved in that story. They say you can participate as much as you want, but I feel like if they don't make us want to play, it's going to be a failure. So it's kind of on them to keep us there. I don't know how if
my
any of you
worry is
plan on
like-
playing as hard as I am, but
We're gonna try.
Yeah, but my
we don't have
worry
a
is,
choice,
like, what
Dano,
you-
because
you
we're in the
mentioned
same
earlier.
room.
I'm sorry. What was that, Peter? You're right, Mike.
But my worry is what you mentioned earlier is like how they're promoting this of like you can play as much as you want if you want to, but if you're grandma, you can sit off to the side. And it kind of like feels like they're trying to appease everybody, and then the end, half the people aren't going to be playing, and half the people are going to be playing. And I feel like you need to be like, if you're coming to this experience, you kind of like.
I think so too. I agree with that. Like, if you're going, you should probably be ready to play hard. Like, or else why spend the money?
Yeah,
because it is
I mean, you don't
expensive.
have
We
to
can all
dress up
agree it's
like
expensive.
Brian or
Very
whatever,
expensive.
but you need to like participate, or this is going to be pointless.
Yeah, yeah. Like why? I mean, the food's going to be good and definitely interesting, which a cruise usually does have pretty good and decent. You know what I got to say though? Speaking of cruises, sorry to sideline myself here. So with all the weird negative backlash, I myself have been feeling a little off about it, right? But today, your guys' cruise video, just like the first 10 minutes of watching you guys back on a cruise, totally clicked me back into like, oh no, this is going to be a fun cruise. And it really did. Like, I was at work watching it, and I've been kind of nervous all day about this whole thing, just because all the work and just life's been crazy. And, like, honestly, your guys' video earlier today just clicked it back into me. Like, no, this is going to be a cruise in Star Wars. This is absolutely going to be fun no matter what. And so it's that's that negativity seeping in. And, like, when you watch it and you expose yourself to it, it really does kind of, like, do something to you. So it's nice. That's why you guys are brought on here. That's why I wanted you here. Everybody specifically. Because I know that all of you... Hey, what's up, Mike? No.
But we got the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge super group here.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to bring on, because we are on YouTube, at least. Like we're the place to go for a lot of the Galaxy's Edge info, and part of what we do is keeping positive and being real when stuff's not perfect.
Right.
Which in this case, this Starcruiser may not be perfect. It may, and so it's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wish it was a little bit longer. Like, I feel like we're not gonna have enough time there. Like, I want
just one more night. One more night would have been.
Yeah.
I agree. Like at least half of the day on that last day, instead of you got to get out by 9:30.
Yeah, and like, I don't ever want to leave the ship. Like, I know that there's missions and stuff that you're supposed to do in Batuu, but like, I don't want to leave. But we probably are gonna leave. But
and so what I was saying a little bit before you guys. What I was saying a little bit before you guys got here was, I have a feeling that because they were designed in tandem at the same time, that the story, like our outlook on Galaxy's Edge Batuu, is going to be different after this Starcruiser. Yeah. It's because of what happens in the data app, because part of the story, whatever that story becomes, I think it's going to change for us, and we're going to look at that place a little bit differently. Even if we're on Batuu West, we're still going to remember what happened on the Starcruiser. It's going to be like a supplement to Galaxy's Edge that'll kind of just change it forever for us. That's my hope. That's what I'm really, really hoping it ends up as.
Well, Dano, exactly like you said when we had Ashley Eckstein on Thank the Maker.
Yep.
She had said that there were a bunch of clues that, because like you said, Dano, the two were supposed to open much closer together, right? And like we all know what happened. So she said that you're going to get to almost like experience the parts of Batuu that you might have missed the first time, because the story tie-in is intentional. So Kitra, I'm with you that I'm like, come on, like I've been to Batuu, I know what to, why would I get off the ship? But I guess the way that the story is being presented, and that there is a fun scavenger hunt to be a part of for stuff that you might not have noticed or looked for before. So that part really, it intrigues me, because I'm like, oh, all right, well, let's, obviously.
And you get a drink voucher, so you could go get a free drink. So.
Drink and a meal voucher.
Important.
Yeah, but if you look at this group specifically, and I know you guys are mostly content creators, and I'm kind of like a additional park enhancer maybe.
And for those who don't know, you're the man responsible for making these beautiful ID cards. I've got quite a few of them from you, so check out Hondo Supply. I'll do the shameless plug for you. I'm good at it.
Hey, I appreciate it. He's just trying to get me to make some stuff. What's cool about all of it though is that if you look at this group and you think of, especially with what you've done with like the Batuu bounty hunt, Dano, it's like that is taking where the groundwork is there, and Disney knows that they weren't expecting us to go out and add more to Galaxy's Edge, but everybody here did, and I think that the community is better for it. So if we treat this the same way that we treated Batuu, it's only going to make the community stronger, because we're all super fans that want to contribute to it in our own way through the fandom, which has made Galaxy's Edge even more amazing in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to Starcruiser being a part of the fan community in the secondary market too.
Yeah, I think it will, but it's going to be hard because it's not. I don't think
As
it's going to be.
accessible.
It's not going to be as accessible, and it's not going to be a repeat experience for most. I would love to do it a second time to play it differently. You know, play it
Right.
one way as Resistance, maybe play it another way as more First Order, just to see what the changes and differences are. But I don't imagine a ton of people are going to do that. So to what you're saying is of this becoming more of a community thing, I think that's going to happen in these traditions that we set on these initial voyages. Like the cruise porgs idea, those kind of like things to leave around, create these little ideas
Great
that like,
idea.
people will post it and be like, oh, look, I got a cruise porg from the so-and-so family. And they hear about it, and then they do that for the next cruise and kind of pay it forward. And these little things get built up through the community, like you're saying. But I think a lot of that, it's going to be different for this because it has to happen beforehand and during and not after.
Are you at all worried? Because we're all kind of like in the first couple batches of trips here. Are you at all worried that we're paying full price to beta test this for them?
Absolutely,
A little bit. Yeah.
They are doing a ton of test cruises beforehand, though.
Yeah.
So they've been
They
doing
are.
play testing for a while now with like the cast members that are working there, their friends and family. They did that sneak peek with like a small group of reporters, and Ashley Eckstein got to go. And then I think throughout the month of February, they're going to be having test cruises. One for Make-A-Wish kids, which was really cool. They announced that during Destination D23. And then they're going to have all those giveaways that they're doing that I have not won. They're going to be doing those in February as well. So hopefully they get most. Hopefully they're doing enough of these like test cruises and play tests that they get most of the kinks worked out. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be absolutely perfect when we go. But that's going to be some of the fun of it too, right? We're going to be like, oh yeah, Chewie was supposed to go over here and do this, but then all of a sudden he was over here. Like, wait a second.
Yeah, like,
gonna-
and to what Peter was saying earlier, if we sell out Chewie, or someone sells out Chewie, do the cast members then learn? Do they learn how to avoid an awkward roadblock in the story like that?
Right.
Do they come up with clever story devices to be like, okay, this happened we didn't expect this to happen on yesterday's crew. Like, do they have meetings after hours? Like, this happened today. We were not ready for that. The next time we do the cruise, we have to make sure to, move people in this direction. There's a lot of those logistics and things that have to happen behind the scenes in order to make this all work. So are we constantly making it better as it goes along? Because every night they get to go back and look at like, okay, we can't let that happen. Or this worked really well. Let's try to get people to do that again. There's those kinds of things. So
They did say in the press thing that Chewie moment, if he gets caught or he doesn't get caught, will affect the storyline for the rest of that cruise.
Oh.
Did they say that?
That's just one, choose your own adventure kind of thing.
yeah, one little spoke of the wheel or whatever to go off on. That is
Right.
So
cool.
the thing is, if you go on this one and you go on the next one, maybe he gets caught this time, maybe he doesn't next time, and maybe that's a totally different kind of subplot.
Yeah, that is interesting. And the same thing with Gaia, from what they've hinted about her. She's tied to some of the missions as well, and I don't want to get into too much. We've done it in another video, and I don't want to, for people who haven't watched those videos, I don't want to spoil it for them. But I do feel like in those Imagineer interviews, they are giving away a lot. They give away like a
Yeah.
lot of the story elements, and I am worried that are they putting all their cards on the table a little too early? Or is that just them scratching the surface and there's going to be a lot more? It's hard to tell.
I feel like we've talked about already is like, even I still forget all of us forget when we're at Galaxy's Edge. There's so much role playing types of things like this, and things you can do like the data pad. There's so many things you can do at the park that you kind of forget. Most casual park goers just kind of want to walk around and go, "Where's the ride? Where's the drinks? Where's the food?" And then that's it. But they don't realize there's all these cool, entertaining things you can do. And that's what's great about all of our channels. When we go there, we're sharing all these fun little extra things you can do to really make this place and this experience so much better. So you leave with that visceral feeling of like, wow, I had the greatest time in the world being there because I knew how to like let go and have fun when I was there. And I think as much as they're making this role-playing experience for us, still most people aren't going to do that. So unless they really put it out there, like really loudly, like do this and you can do this and that, people are going to not realize, and they're going to completely miss that whole aspect, which is such a major part of what this experience is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say, as a parent and a family that goes to Disney often, I want to pack in as much as possible into our days. Like, we still take our breaks in the middle of the day, go back to the hotel, take a nap, but we're trying to get in as much as we can. I want to do it all. But what I've learned and what's more enjoyable for our family is if we stop doing the overly scheduled stuff and like, oh, we got to run across the park and go to, Fantasyland. We got to go over here. Is just go with the flow. Okay, the kids want to ride teacups again. Let's let them ride teacups again. And then maybe you see something that you didn't see before. So I think just go into it and just let it take you where it's going to take you, and don't try to do absolutely everything and discover absolutely everything. And you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's going to be hard though, because
Yeah,
it's going to be like, I want to do it all. I'm not gonna sleep the first night, pretty much.
But I think
I
if you're
feel like-
trying to go find like little clues here and there, you're going to be missing the big story behind you too. So
That's true.
we're all just
I
going to
feel
have
like
to go
that might
back.
unfortunately happen with the group of us too, since we're going to probably be vlogging and doing stuff. Like, we're going to feel such that pressure again. Like, I got to cover everything. But then we keep
Yes.
talking about this, Ashley and I, like you just said, Sarah, just let the experience kind of happen so you can still enjoy it personally a little bit. Because if we try to do everything, we're going to leave going, we didn't get to do anything.
Yeah,
And I've
that
been
is-
having such of that feeling lately with Disney, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
we just
Yeah,
want. I'm
it's
just
tough.
happy we're all going to be there sharing that fun. So people who again can't go, unfortunately, because it's so crazy expensive and it's hard to go, that we can share that fun emotion and keep all this other negative hate away from the experience. So they keep building this place because it's the coolest thing in the world. Like, we get to do this.
We
And
get a
I'm so
real
thankful for
playground,
it, so.
like a real
Yeah.
Star Wars playground. Yeah, no, I'm really excited. So Nate O'Shea asked an interesting question. I wonder about the number of cast members to guest ratio for being an interactive story. This is something I brought up in my video earlier today towards the end. Do we think that there's going to be cast members in alien makeup other than the captain and the cruise director who, everyone, it looks like there was a lot of humans in these characters that we've been shown. Do we think that's it? Those are the characters and that's it? Or do we think there's going to be more roaming alien characters? I kind of want to know what everyone's thoughts are on that.
I
think it
think
needs-
once you put people in makeup, you need to. You were saying that they're part of like the acting guild there.
Yeah.
And
There are rules they
I
have to
think
follow.
You need to have those people in the acting guild, and I think they're using. This worries me a little bit. I have a lot of friends who are in the college program at Disney. It's awesome. It's a great experience. But this is the first time they're using college program people for the opening
Yeah.
of like a thing. And usually that doesn't happen at an attraction.
I've seen a lot of that. A lot of them like posting, on Instagram, "Hey, I just got accepted. I'm part of the college program, but I'm going to the Starcruiser." And that is, you're right. There's a little bit of worry there because you're getting the fresh kiddos out there to be like, "Oh, no, come on, you do it." Yeah, that is a really good point, and that's a legit concern. Yeah, I don't know.
They're
I don't know.
eager, right?
Oh, sure, they want it. They want it, and they're gonna give it their all, which is great. But I mean, I also think
So-
every cast member there is gonna do their best.
Yeah. So I think,
But I think there's.
from what
Go
I've
ahead, Sarah.
heard, they're staying on the Starcruiser.
They must end up living there for probably like 2 to 3
I think
cruises
it's
at a
2
time, right?
Voyages. Yeah.
2
So
back-to-back
if you look at, like,
voyages.
if you look at the outside of the building, there's like a separate building right next to it, and I think that's where cast members are going to be
So
staying. 'cause they're
you
supposed
go to
stay
work
there.
like literally for
That's
6
like a real
days.
cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly like a real cruise, but for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that
gonna
is going to be
say-
interesting.
That I feel
I'm curious,
like,
what is everybody most excited about for the experience? I know there's a lot of individual things, but overall, what are you hoping to get out of the experience?
We'll start with Peter and Kitra. How about that? And then we'll go to Mike.
I'm just excited to see it all. Like I said, I'm excited to like dress up and do that sort of thing because that's not something that we normally get to do. I want all the drinks and all the food and all the shows, and that's kind of like my vibe. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I think we're usually about the vibes of something, just like feeling like we're living in this immersive space. And I just want to, I don't know, I was never excited for the lightsaber thing because I never thought that was going to be awesome, to be honest. I think probably the thing I was most excited for was the cantina, but hopefully it's better than that what we saw.
Yeah, we didn't get your feedback. So, what do you think about the cantina, real quick, and then we'll jump into what Mike is, most excited for.
It almost looked like I saw someone tweet this. So I'm kind of borrowing from I forget who, but they said it looked like an ABC sci-fi TV show scene, from a network sci-fi TV show, and it kind of looked like that. It didn't look.
I'm still optimistic. I still think it's going to be awesome.
I'm still probably going to spend most of my time there.
Me too. See, me and you, we're like.
All right, Mike. What are you most hyped about for this whole thing?
I think there's a part of me that, like, my 30,000-foot view of the whole thing is I'm just excited for this level of dedication to Star Wars. I'm excited that, especially in this first group, that everybody who's going to be there, I know that there are some general Disney people that just, they are in on whatever new experience is there because they're huge Disney fans, and I get that. But, I think some of the part of what makes Batu is like, you go there as a Star Wars super fan, and then you look over and someone's wearing like a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey, and you're like, oh, all right, hey man, and this experience is, and I understand that it's a little bit restrictive in terms of the price and getting through the door, but like everybody that's going to be on this, I think understands what they're going for. And that to me is really exciting, because to have that many people, even now, look at it this way. It's 400, Sarah, correct me, is 400 people on the voyage?
I think we did the math
100 rooms.
On one of the think makers. Yeah, it was
100 rooms, averaging 4
max.
people. Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which then Ashley Eckstein said, you think that it would feel like a lot of people, but like it really doesn't. So you're gonna, over the time, you're gonna build your little communities really quick. You're gonna be teamed. Even if half of the people get really into it, that's still 200 people that are like, let's do this, let's be all in. It's almost like a more experiential celebration, Star Wars celebration, which I think is like the best place on earth. So I'm excited for that level of Star Wars people collectively in a spot together that feel the same way about this franchise as I do. So I think that's probably the thing that I'm most excited about.
All right, Sarah, I'm going to throw it to you next.
Ugh, okay. I'm excited for all of it, honestly. Like, I don't want to get super excited about one piece of it, like, honestly, probably Sublight Lounge, or being able to drink as much blue milk as I possibly can fit inside of my body, and blue milk butter.
Want to be sweating
blue milk
shrimp.
butter.
I am. I'm going to look blue by the end of it. I'll just buy the head tails. It'll work out. But I don't want to set my expectations too high for any one piece of it. I think just the entire experience is going to be amazing. And so I don't want to go in saying I'm going to kill it at lightsaber training, because I know I'm not. I'm going to look so silly doing it. And just go take in all that I can while I'm there and just have a good time. And buy a lot of things, like a lot of things.
Yeah, you know what? I'll jump to me, and then Brian, since you asked a question, you'll go last. But the merch, like, I want to know what the exclusive, that's the most thing I'm like looking forward to, is what are these exclusive items going to be? Obviously, I'm a sucker for Star Wars merch. You can see it all around me. But I love a lot of the exclusive stuff of Galaxy's Edge. I love what they did with a lot of that merch. And initially I went crazy with it. And I want to know, are there going to be exclusive droids? Are there going to be exclusive lightsabers? None of that's been revealed yet. We know there's going to be exclusive clothing. And even though I have no real-world practical use for it other than in videos when I sit here in my office, I'm still probably going to buy a costume or two while I'm there. Just because, like, I want to... I have Jedi robes here in this closet that I itch to just wear every day. I look at them and I'm like, I should just put that on right now and just hang out. And I don't, but I'm always like this close to doing it every day. So I know my wife would just look at me like, what the heck are you doing right now? Leave me alone.
What are you talking about? Ashley and I do it every day.
See, but it's for me, it's kind of just seeing what they came up with merch wise. And we know they're pulling from a lot of different aspects of Star Wars for that merch, like Bail Organa's senator outfit or whatever is like one of them. And there's a lot of like neat things that they're referencing. So I want to see how deep that goes. with the Starcruiser, because we know it goes pretty deep with like the stuff in Doc Ondars. So that's what I'm really pumped about, is seeing all that they're going to offer us. Brian, what do you got?
I think what we've done from the beginning with Galaxy's Edge is we just looked at it as like a giant playground to dress up and play and have fun and live Star Wars, and just share that with everybody too, and remind them like, this is what you can do here if you just let go and don't care so much what people think about you. Just have fun. You're here on a Starcruiser with other massive Star Wars fans. Nobody's going to judge you if you want to swing a lightsaber around, run down the hall, eat a bunch of blue milk like you were saying, like whatever you want to do. And it's such a safe space to just completely let go. And that's what we really just want to share with people, is just have fun. I know Peter and Kitch are going to cover probably every last corner of that place, and we're going to miss it all because we're going to be running around.
We're going to try.
So, I don't know. Have you seen the itineraries? I'm not sure we're going to have time.
I'm stressed.
That is true. That is very true. It's jam-packed. Someone was commenting earlier, I had it on the screen, that itinerary is like blocked out. I think the most free time we're going to have is when we get there, and it says light refreshments before the mustard drill or whatever. That's going to be our time to do shopping. We have like an hour or two in that block to do something before the show starts.
Lounge.
Yeah. I'm just excited, for all that other stuff, the things we haven't seen yet, because I know they keep showing concept art and everybody's like, why are they showing this and not the actual thing? I'm like, well, like we were saying before, it's probably not finished yet. Yes, the concept art is just concept art. It's an idea to inspire them to create these cool things. We're probably going to get a good amount of that when we go. And I just can't wait to see all those things and just let go and be in Star Wars and share that with everybody. So, again, people who can't go can live that experience with us as well, and feel that visceral happiness of being in that experience. So
can I say something about the concept art?
Yeah,
because I think that might be the root of a lot of the problems with this and Galaxy's Edge, is they need to promote these things with something, and they promote it with the concept art. And I mean, Brian, you know this, probably everybody here knows this, like concept art for every movie. You look at the Star Wars books, every piece of concept art looks cooler than anything in the movie.
It's like up here,
Agreed.
and then in real life they can deliver this, which is still great, but
you can never get as good as the concept art. And like, you have the concept art and it's like the best case scenario, and it's still cool. Galaxy's Edge is still cool. Galactic Starcruiser hopefully will still be cool, but you're comparing against like,
right.
the
They're not
going
to sell out the first 4 months if they're setting your expectations down here. They've got to hype you up to here and get you excited about it, or you're going to be like, we'll see how it goes.
And even what you posted the other day with the side by side of the concept art of the, what was it,
Captain.
And
the Captain,
whatever. And it's like one looks so good and the other does not. Looks like a costume, but it's technically the same thing.
That's what it is, right? I mean, if you looked at it like side by side like that, the costume's pretty spot on, save for a couple of things, and maybe like the saturation of her skin and her costume. But that's like a drawing of a person versus a real person. And we talked about it earlier too. There's going to be multiple captains, so that may not be our captain necessarily.
I compare
what's like
Hondo
looking at
Ohnaka
raw footage
from the Clone Wars compare Hondo Ohnaka from the Clone Wars to Hondo Ohnaka that's at Galaxy's Edge. Like, they're way different.
Or even just him in Rebels. Like, that was just the next step, but it was still pretty different.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like when you look at raw footage from a movie, behind the scenes footage, and then you actually see the finished product when they put every little bling and lighting, like concept art again. Like, as a painter, like, you're sitting there putting blings on every little detail to make people look at it and just bring that magic to life. Unless you had like a ton of studio lights perfectly lined up shooting at everything, you're not going to get that effect. And maybe again, even how they did this promo, they had to light it in a weird way to even make things kind of show up. But when you're there, maybe it's much darker and moodier and there's better lighting, but like to film it, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So you had to, it just kind of looked Yeah. But again, it's funny too, on the concept art, they specifically wrote on the bottom, like, this is just concept art for reference, because people have been complaining about that.
So here's the other thing with like the sneak peeks and the real life looks that we've gotten at all of this is they're showing us, Peter and I talked about this, they're showing us like the cool stuff without showing us any of the lead up to it. So like, you're going to get on the ship, you're going to do your muster, you're going to do all these things, get to the story, And then your story is going to build to you doing lightsaber training. Once you get to that point, like, you're going to have a purpose for going into lightsaber training. You're going to be super jacked. You're going to be like super immersed in your story. It's going to be amazing. But seeing Josh DeMero do it when he probably doesn't wield a lightsaber, like, and it's completely out of context, yeah, it's probably not going to look,
That's going to be what I look like.
Yeah.
To be fair, we're all going to look like that. Like, do any of you expect to actually look cool doing lightsaber training? Like,
Brian will look cool doing it, but you were saying before that you'll look ridiculous. I was like, you can't look as bad as Josh, so.
Aw.
Maybe that's why they did that.
No. Maybe they're like, oh, these celebrities. They're one of us.
They made those blades small too, so you don't get too crazy when you're swinging it around. Because I know a lot of us are going to want to get all epic with the blocking. They're kind of short.
Interesting. Interesting. They're training sabers.
Yes, exactly.
But I would rather that than like a VR headset type thing.
I think so too, and that's a lot of the criticism that I've seen from people about the lightsaber training. They're saying, well, why didn't you just build a VR into like a helmet like Luke had on A New Hope when he's doing the blind training? Yeah, that could work, but why do something that's already been done? Yeah, exactly. You can just buy that. I don't want to pay all this money to do something I can do if I steal my kid's Oculus. Exactly. Like, I could do that already. I don't, this is at least something different. While I'm in the camp that it doesn't look great from what we've seen, I'm still in the camp that's like holding out optimism, being like, it's probably way better in person once we get there.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think Disney might be painting themselves into a corner in that they keep on showing this extendable lightsaber, and they keep on like hyping this thing? Did Brian talk about this earlier? I'm sorry.
No, not yet.
I think I know where you're going with it.
And they confirmed to press, and actually I know some press that was there. They had to bug them. They asked the question and they avoided it, and they had to ask the question again, and they were like, "Yeah, this is not going to be a lightsaber that guests hold. It's not going to be a lightsaber that you can buy. It's going to be Rey's lightsaber in an action moment that's going to happen on the thing," which is cool. But they keep on showing this, and people keep on thinking.
They should have been upfront about that in the very beginning. I mean, I kind of thought that from the very beginning. I was like, there's no way they let anybody's hands on that. It's huge. It's new tech that probably costs $25,000, $30,000 to make one or two of them that they have. We've never seen it retract, so that probably doesn't work quite well. There's a lot of that stuff that's like, no, this is still very much like just past prototype phase. Right. They're not selling it to us, and we're not going to get to touch it. Like, that was my expectation and thoughts the first time I saw it. But a lot of people saw it and said, oh, we're going to be able to buy that? Awesome. Their brains went there. They said, Disney made something? Of course they want our money. They're going to let us buy it. And so there's a lot of disappointment in that. And they probably should have been up front and just said, hey, this is something that our actor is going to be showing. And they did, but in not so many words. They just said, your first view will be on the Galactic Starcruiser. And that's it.
Yeah, they basically were saying, like, you get to have a lightsaber training experience, and there's a real lightsaber. And, like, I think a lot of us, like I did too,
put the two together.
It was the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was always like, how are they going to keep people from breaking those lightsabers? That can't be very sturdy of a blade. But it was disappointing to realize that you don't get to have anything to do with that. And that was one of the, again, you keep saying, the big thing they were hyping up is we have a real lightsaber.
Real quick, I got a super chat from Kevin Moore. He says, "Remember, Brian, no parkour during the lightsaber trainings. You gotta take it easy." Thanks, Kevin.
Can't do anything.
No, I want to see you go wild.
So here's the thing I see come up in a lot of comments. Ben Bamboo here says, "Looks like Fifth Element, not Star Wars. Wondering if the people that designed it ever actually saw Star Wars movies before." Now, in my video earlier, I think.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, they absolutely have. But I think part of the reason comments like that are common, and a lot of people feel that same way, is because this is Star Wars we haven't seen yet. And people need to remember that. Like, remember the first time we saw the prequels? That was Star Wars we hadn't seen yet. We didn't know what Coruscant looked like yet. Oh, it's all different. Oh, that doesn't look quite like Star Wars. It's not as lived in and dirty. And so here we are years later, same kind of deal. Like, we don't know what a luxury Starcruiser in the Star Wars universe is supposed to look like yet. We've never seen it. So, yeah, it is going to look a little bit off. And I think we all just kind of need to wrap our head around that a little bit first before we lose our minds with criticism.
Yep.
That's
All
true.
right.
Anything new is instantly change is not fun, right? Nobody likes change. So this is something that's completely new. So people are going to be wary about it. And they were like that with Galaxy's Edge. They were like that with the prequels, the sequels, Galaxy's Edge. So when the next thing comes out after Starcruiser, everybody will love Starcruiser, right? We just have to get to that next
We'll see.
point.
All right, let me see what else we've
if
got.
it gets brought in, the other thing, let me just add this too.
Yeah.
Peter, Brian, I want to ask your opinion of this as well. I had brought this up in Peter and Kitcher, I know you guys weren't here, but I had brought up the idea that Starcruiser was going to be almost like a proving ground, a testing ground, to see how much more off the rails actors they could get out into the park. A big criticism, of course, of the two is like, there needs to be more aliens, there needs to be more droids walking around, there needs to be more just people that don't really, their intention isn't to interact with the guests, it's just gruff people walking around. An experience that I had when I was a kid, I went to a haunted house in Pontiac, Michigan, and they had plainclothes people that were in our group, and like you walk in and one of the like monsters or whatever grabbed the dude next to me that was talking to me and like dug his claws into him and dragged him away. And I was like, yo, that guy was, I was talking to him outside, like something's wrong with this place. And like, I know that level of immersion is a very simple, it's like a parlor trick, but it like messes with your head to the point. And it's like, if they're going to put all this work into creating these characters and putting them in makeup, what's to say that that character then just goes for a hot lap around Batuu and adds that little like, whoa, who is that? Like, oh, well, I'm on, like we're off world, right? What are your thoughts on that? Like, is that me having a pie in the sky dream, or is that like somewhat of a feasible idea?
I mean, I'd love that. I'd like to hear what Brian has to say about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I always wish that was the case too. People walking around, interacting, and doing exactly what you said. But I think it just came down to cost again for hiring actors. Sure. Like they would probably still be actors. I mean, a lot of the citizens of Batuu who work at the actual different stations try to sort of interact with you like that too. But because they're just humans, it's still kind of like you're just talking to cast members.
It's kind of behind a barrier.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wish too that there was a lot more of that interactive feeling, especially when you see like the promos that they originally created for Batuu. You pan down to the city and you see all this activity and
aliens
it's alive.
everywhere.
And I know we've all talked about that too. Just that there's none of that. What's it called? Like the types of
Immersion.
rides or things at Batuu that's like perpetual motion type things going on.
Yeah, a lot of that energy is just kind of missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hope that's why I was saying earlier. I hope there's aliens pretending to be guests, walking around amongst us on the Starcruiser. Just those little things, those little details that will really make the story as immersive as they're hyping it up to be. I do worry that there won't be any. That's like a legit concern that I've got. Is just like, they may not do that. We've seen them cheap out on certain things before. And that seems like a extra cost that isn't necessary, but would actually help build that world a lot better. But, I just wonder, are they going to... Where is the Disney company at regarding this project? Are they willing to put in the budget to make this thing a success and really, really go for it? Or are they already cutting stuff and cheaping out a little bit as they did with Galaxy's Edge before it opened?
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Sorry. On the other side of the coin of not hiring actors, we're paying them to go onto this Starcruiser. We're gonna dress up. We're gonna be playing, and we're gonna be taking this shuttle down to Batuu, and who knows what's gonna happen on that journey. Like I'm making something up here. This is not something I know, but like maybe on the shuttle down to Batuu, the First Order intercepts you, and then they're like land your ship, and like they land, and when you get out of that shuttle, Kylo and the First Order come out of this, because it lands like right next to
Yeah.
First Order.
The
They come
echelon,
out, and
yeah.
then now you're playing on. You got 50 people in costume that are playing that don't need to be paid to be actors, because we already paid to be actors to be part of the show. and it becomes like,
I see what they're doing here. No.
I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen. I don't know. That's not something I know. I'm just like wondering if they can leverage us because we're
Interesting.
That's true. Like maybe that was us in the concept art for Galaxy's Edge the whole time, because it was designed in tandem. They were like, no, this is going to be the people on the Starcruiser. Those are the aliens walking around. They're already going to be dressed up. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wish
They
all
had
our
us
face
years
paint.
ago, and they allow you to. They allow.
Yeah.
I'm guessing in the gift shop
Thinking
you'll
about
probably even be able to pay them to paint your face. You know,
I want
like
that,
they do
a
on Pandora or
hippity
whatever.
boppity Bo-Katan.
Yes, that
Yes.
would be amazing.
Yeah, yep, there it is. Why hire alien actors when guests will be dressing up? That's exactly it. That's a really good point, and I think you're right. Sadly, I think you're right.
But what if like nobody participates? Maybe they do have plants, and maybe that's what those roamers were that we saw, like the college program people.
Yeah,
Maybe they
yeah,
are
yeah.
plants.
Someone did call them
And they're
roamers.
like,
You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
let's go hide Chewie. Let's get him through the atrium. Maybe. Like, because what if you're shy and you don't want to do that? And then somebody else is like, you know, the viral video of like the first person that gets up and dances and then everybody else gets up and dances. They may have those plants on there and we just won't know it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and they do that. They hide people in plain sight all the time. Whenever you see any of the droids roaming around, you'll also see like a dad in like a hat and sunglasses with his hands in his hoodie or behind his back. Yeah, and you're like, oh, you can catch him. He's not far, but yeah, he's got a giant remote in there, and you can you can usually pick him out if you stand there a little while and watch wherever R2 is. So they're going to be on the cruise as well for the droid that's roaming around. We know at least one droid is roaming around. I hope it's going to be plural and there's going to be more than one droid roaming around. But it's not a huge space.
Yep.
So who knows?
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Again, I'm actually glad that it's not in September or something like that, because the holidays, if you've got kids or you've got life happening, these next couple weeks are going to fly by.
Yeah.
And then to all of a sudden hit like January and February, which is normally my downtime at work. And I'm like, oh, wait, we have to go to Batuu and then leave Batuu and go somewhere else. I'm like, let's go. So a thing that I've seen that's been popping up is, you know, will all of us be objective with our review?
Oh, yeah, I saw someone asking that earlier. I absolutely 100% will be. I was saying earlier, like, if it sucks, I'm going to tell you. I have no stake in the game otherwise. You know, like, that's what I'm here doing, and I'm pretty sure everyone else here is fairly genuine as well.
You were a Star Wars Disney shill. That's
I am a Disney shill. I know. Where are those checks? Disney, where
are they paying
the
you?
heck have you been? Where are my credits?
Show him your shill badge that Mike made you.
I mean, if they want to pay me, like, let's talk. Maybe I can help them play test and come up with some Batuu bounty hunt kind of integration to the Starcruiser.
I think you're going to get, though, at the beginning of all this, I think we will, especially the early groups, right? Like, I think if whoever's on the first group, and I think Peter and Katru, you guys are on the first group. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say that, like, with every big Star Wars opening, I'm assuming that Bob Chapek will be there. I'm assuming that there will be, you know, other Star Wars people that will be. I mean, I think it's going to be a big deal. I think we're also kind of assuming this was just like a thing they were going to open. But I mean, I'm fully prepared for Ashley Eckstein to be there. I'm prepared for it to be an exciting week at Batuu East. And I also feel like there's like a part of being patient with people, but feedback is important to Disney. I mean, I feel like they've always been very open to be like, we'd ask that you voice it directly to us. If you want to go on and, you know, stink up a Facebook group, go for it too. Of course, it's free country. But I mean, if we have a little moment at, you know, 1 a.m. after we've been at the Sublight Lounge all day, if something seems off, I'm absolutely the kind of person to be like, hey, I'm sure you guys are like working on things. Like, this would be awesome to learn a little bit more about it. Maybe take me out of the experience, but like, I want to see it succeed. I guess that might be weird. Some people might disagree with that.
Yeah. So speaking of them valuing feedback, this is where we're going to get into a little awkward subject here. They received a lot of feedback on that last promo video, the official promo video with Gaia. And they have since removed it. Does anyone have any thoughts as to why? Do you think they really just saw how negative the response was and were just like, we can't have this? I mean, they have to know that that's not a good look. So I'm wondering what anybody's thoughts are on that. Like, do you think there was something else involved in them pulling it? Anything? Told you it's
Damage
gonna be
control.
awkward. Damage control. Okay.
But I mean, well, no. I mean this. I mean, I'm kind of like phrasing that as like for the group to respond. But I think if you look at it, it's just like with anytime something new happens. Like I'm very seldom when I'm able to, try to keep up with pro sports. I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so naturally we're the worst team in any sports franchise. But I also keep up with like NHL hockey, and there was a new team added to the league this year called the Seattle Kraken, and people thought that it was going to be the Seattle Sockeyes because salmon and Pacific Northwest and all that. And people were just all mad about the crack. What is that? And they have done an amazing job with visually what they've done with that franchise. It's incredible. And I think that with the amount of people, the cast members that are training, they're going to work every day and they're learning about this. They can see that stuff too. And I feel like if you're Disney and you're in charge of, their HR team, or not HR, I'm sorry, PR team, and you have your multimedia team and your social team, they might have just said, this isn't worth it for our team that's working their asses off. It isn't worth it to put out there because we know that this was one thing that we put out there just to let people know. But it's not worth it to leave up because we know that what they're getting a little fraction of isn't going to be representative of the rest of the experience. And I, as someone who's in PR too, sometimes that's the call you've got to make.
I'll just say quickly, because I got to get out of here after this and get back to work. But I think, like you just said, I feel like so many movies, even like Last Jedi, going into Solo, all these films, there's always something that gets brought up. Like, oh, this and this happened, and as a result, this movie's going to suck now, or this is going to be terrible. And it can be the silliest little thing that just becomes the talking point over and over and over, and it just overshadows the amazing things that we get within the movie. Or like for this, the experience, like maybe people are going to just keep talking about these negative things and they'll never see the positive about this experience. So they're just like, we're just going to shut this thing down. Like I always say that, like, people talk so much down on Last Jedi that people claim Solo was a bad movie, but I think it really was such the negative press from Last Jedi affected Solo doing well because they came out so close to each other. Yeah. That that stuff just keeps happening constantly. And I don't blame them for wanting to get rid of that if that's the case, but we don't really know what happened. I just want this to be all positive as well too. So
yeah, for sure. So overall, though, I think we're all still in the same boat. Where even though some of the stuff doesn't look as good as they may have promised it, I know I'm still net positive on this. I'm still really stoked on going. Like, it's gonna take a lot more than that to get into my head and make me think of canceling. Like, my thought are still like, we haven't seen this. We haven't even been there yet. It's going to change. The feeling is so much different, especially when you're there during the opening week or the very beginning of something. Most of us have been to comic conventions or stuff like that, where you're waiting in line forever and there's all this hype and build up and anticipation, and you get there and even if it's not perfect, you still have a blast. I mean, I remember when the Force Awakens trailer came out, waiting from like 3 a.m. at Celebration. It was miserable conditions. It was like literally miserable conditions. But my outlook on it and memories of it are like, no, that was amazing to be in that room when that happened. And I think this is going to be something similar, where like even if it's not like great, just the hype, the feeling, what we bring to it is really going to be the biggest factor. Is where we are, how much fun we want to have, how much we want to focus on what we like as opposed to what we don't like. That's everything.
I agree.
Cool. Let me see if there. Cool. Good. Well, that's good because we're in the same room, so we have to.
I got to get out of here.
Brian's got to go.
Seeing everybody and talk
Cool.
with
Bye,
everybody.
Brian.
Yeah, thanks so much for hanging out,
Can't
Brian.
wait to see
Everybody,
how Star
check
Cruiser-
out Brian and Ashley over at Always Believe on YouTube. If you're not familiar with them, you absolutely should be if you're a Star Wars fan. So thanks so much for hanging out, Brian. I'll be sure to link your guys' channel down below in the description.
See you guys. Keep spreading positive.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, man.
Oh, you're still there.
There we go.
When
So
someone ends live and you've got that like, oh god, get out.
yeah.
How do I?
So this software actually does a similar thing where you hit finish, but it doesn't stop. You have to then hit end. You have to click twice to get it to stop.
Yeah.
So it is a little awkward with that too. But as we're kind of getting toward the end here, I said I'd go live for about an hour and a half. We're hitting that just about now. Are there any other concerns or feedback or anything that you guys have regarding the Starcruiser that, or any hopes that you think maybe we haven't seen yet? You know, give me, as we're winding down, any final thoughts you guys have on this? And I'm going to look for any questions that might be popping up in the chat here to throw up real quick.
I feel like I
just
want to
feel-
stop looking at
Go
all the
s-
promotional
oh.
stuff they're doing. Like, I just want to, from here on out, I just want to be completely blind until it's my turn to go.
I think
Like,
that's
I don't
fair.
want to see. I've seen enough.
I can't do that.
I know he can't.
Yeah, see,
I
and I'm in
probably
the same
can't
boat
either,
as you,
to be
Peter.
honest.
I can't stay away.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to the information. When that information comes out, I want to share it. I want to tell people, and that's one of those things we're going to have to find this fine line, especially as content creators who are going to be sharing videos, of not giving away too much. And that a lot of that's going to have to happen in our edit or whatever, you know, like. But we're going to record everything we can because we have to. But it's how much do we share, and leading into it, how much do we look into? Like, how much do we regurgitate that information? I know I'm in the position where, like, I'm just ready to share it all as soon as I see it. But is that, like, even the video yesterday, the promo video, that the cruise people who've booked got, when I posted, on YouTube, I couldn't really put the disclaimer on there, but on Facebook, I put the disclaimer, like, hey, if you're booked already, you may want to skip this one. You may not want to watch this yet, because it might be a little more
Oh, is that
special.
what that video was from? I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
we
from the
got
email.
That video.
And not everybody
Yeah.
got it, which is also why I was like, well, I
Okay.
should probably share this so
You
people
mean
who
the
are going
video where like they did this?
Yes, yeah, with the
I
phone.
didn't watch it
The
yet.
iPhone.
I didn't watch it yet. Spoiler.
I was like, wait a second. I have that data pad.
iPhone.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, we're on the same voyage. I didn't get the email, but the lead in y'all's room, she
That's
texted
right.
me. She was like, "Did you see this?" I was like, "No. Where did you get that?" She's like, "They emailed me." I was like, "Oh, they didn't email me." So, so she forwarded the email, and I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, I ripped the video down and posted it. But yeah, I feel you because I put a spoiler above that welcome video because that's something that's going to be rolling out. You know, on a timed basis for each cruise that's going out. And I think that's what's difficult is now it's starting to get to some of the stuff that's going to be special to those people going at a certain time. And so we do have to be very careful with like spoilers ahead because like Rise of Resistance, when that came out, I think we went like a month later. And you want to watch the YouTube videos and you're super excited about it. And like Imagineering Story had come out at the same time as like they were showing some of it. And I was like, I can't see any of it. And it was only a month, thankfully. But I had to avoid all spoilers. And I think that's some people are going to do that with this as well because they don't want to ruin their experience if they're already booked.
Yeah. Pete Castiglione says, love the stream, gave me a new hope. Yeah, I know.
Oh.
That, you know what, Pete? Thank you for typing that in, man. Like, that's the point. Is there's a lot of unnecessary hate out there, and some of it is warranted. Like, you know, I understand some of the positions people have, but we haven't been there yet. We haven't actually seen it. So, as one of the few people online that still champions this project and still wants to see it succeed, I wanted to do a live stream and invite people on that I know still have a good, positive outlook on things, and are going to be honest and genuine, and if it's, you know, and can say, hey, no, that doesn't look great, but I'm still excited. And so I'm glad that everybody in this chat could be here. We got about 227 people watching. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to see if there's any other last minute questions before we wind it down.
Wait, Dana, can I ask you a question?
Oh, please.
as a fellow content creator, like, to be honest with you, I'm not like worried about the spoilers because I think we'll put like a spoiler warning.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
this is a video
Yeah.
for people who can't afford to go, kind of thing. But I'm kind of worried that like there's so much hate about this. Are you at all worried of people using your video as an example of why this sucks and why this is bad? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I am now. I wasn't before, but now that you mention it, Peter, yeah, kind of. Maybe I should be. So
'cause we might be some of the first people to show some of these things.
yeah, that's right. And literally what I just said is true. I didn't think about it before, but you have a really good point. But I don't think like on the surface level, no, that's fine. People are going to do that regardless. You know, like I can't control that. But I know that realistically, it's going to bug me. It is going to bug me. If I see it, it's going to bug me. I may not say anything out loud about it, but yeah, it will bother me if that happens. It's going to be a real test to not get angry or freak out about that if it happens, or get worried or upset or whatever. But I think it's one of those things that's kind of part of the job. You know, that's something that we accept when we decide to create content and do all this kind of stuff. And I know I've been fortunate with my community that I rarely receive negative feedback on anything. And so when I do, it is shocking to me. You know, I'm very fortunate that I've rarely, especially in Star Wars, that's pretty rare to not get so much, you know, to not see it. Because I do take, even if I have to read it, like just being honest, I see it and I read it. I try to gloss past it, but I can't. I hold that in. So, yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be interesting. All we can all do is just kind of do our best to have fun with what we've got, right? Like we just got to keep pushing through and move on to the next thing and just have as good a time as we can and not let the moof milkers drag us down.
Well,
Yeah, so true.
it's funny that you bring that up because in some of these later, like these most recent reaction videos to the promos and all of these things where is negative feedback, they're quoting prices for some of the bigger rooms that were in our price speculation video, Dano, the one that you and I did, where it was like, we think it's going to be 20 grand. Or we said like 26 grand or something. And so they're referencing these prices in this video, which was totally wrong. We were way off, thankfully. Like
Nice.
the suites are not as expensive as we anticipated them being, but they're using our like speculated prices
Our
from
guesses.
3 months ago.
That's pretty
It's
funny.
nowhere near
That is
right.
pretty
I'm like,
funny.
but yeah, I think it is going to happen, and it's a weird feeling because you do want to go out there and put only not necessarily positive but honest things out there, and if somebody's going to take that and put a negative light on it, that's just unfortunate.
But I
Yeah.
think that Star Wars has always been, I mean, people have asked for things, people have requested, you know, they're not dumb. The people who work for Star Wars, who work for Disney, they're not dumb. And, you know, I think that this is going to be one more experience within Star Wars that they're going to invest in, and that this is going to be an evolving thing. I mean, the crazy part about this experience, and again, I'm not calling it a hotel because I know they asked us not to, because it's really not. This whole thing is held up by computers and by digital experience, so they can change things. They can literally write new storylines. I mean, this is going to be a really cool technological marvel as well. And I think that's also something we have to keep in mind too. And so I look forward to going as an armor builder myself. I'm a 4-time 501st member. I've spent money on way more stupid stuff. I try and golf. I got into mountain biking this summer, and you want to talk about spending money? Holy crap! So for me to go and have an experience, for me to go and have an experience that I'm able to be a part of, that I'm probably not going to go every year or anything like that. But you know, I look at it and I think, I figured it out. I saved money. I made it worth it. I'm going with other like-minded people that are going to the exact kind of people that Ashley Eckstein told us to go with, right, Sarah?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
get
remember
8
listening to that.
people, I think it's like, I think we end up spending like about $1,700, a little bit over that. And I know that's and it's money. I get it. I totally get it. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, and I do look at that difference of going, if you're dedicated to something, you can figure it out. And that's what we all did. And I look forward to what this experience is also going to be in like the next 3 or 4 years too, because I think Galaxy's Edge is going to get better because of this too. So I don't know. Are we beta testers? Absolutely, Peter. Plug me in. Let's go.
I just don't want to feel like, you know, in 6 months, I feel like we've got half the experience, or do you know what I mean? Something like that. Like,
yeah, for sure. They add so much more just down the road. Yeah, that's a real concern. But then I guess we have to go back, and I think I may end up doing it twice eventually. I still want to do the Captain Suite. I like maybe after, if it's worth it and we figure that it's good, maybe we all get a giant group going and we do it far enough advance because we've already done it. It won't matter so much when, and we just ball out and do that Captain Suite and Captain's Table. Yes. Did you guys get Captain's Table, by the way? No. Yeah, neither did any of we.
It's tough.
Sarah, did they say? So I know that this was like this fluctuating thing that we were talking about, because this experience is not all that undifferent from every other. There are peak times, like May the 4th is going to be peak capacity for a lot of things. Are the later dates in your Disney off-season, quote unquote, are those, like, do we expect that those prices will go down a little bit in terms of they're going, at the end of the day, it still has to have rooms filled. Will that price come down in what's considered an off-season?
We can only talk about the first 7 months of booking because that's what we know and what's out there so far. They may bump up the price by a certain percent for the next group of booking dates. But when we saw the sample pricing that they put out on the Starcruiser website, they quoted a weekday departure in late August, right? It was like, I forget what it was, like mid to late August, which is their down season. When kids go back to school after summer, like that's when it's typically quieter. You know, the last few years have kind of thrown a wrench into our crowd calendars and everything like that. But typically the summer is higher. For Starcruiser, the first few weeks are higher and around like spring break time, and then it dips down a little bit, goes back up for summer, and then it dips down in August and September. I imagine, based off of what I've seen so far for the demand, especially for the suites, I think the suites are going to go up in price for the next group of booking windows because there's not that many of them, and they booked out before general bookings opened up. So
that makes sense.
They
see that there's value there, and they might just that is true.
I also think Captain's Table is going to go way up, and feel like
that seems so underpriced.
Yeah,
$30.
Okay, that's.
But I'm also very curious to see what is that other than a table and maybe an extra dish or two.
Yeah.
You know, like
for $30, probably not much.
Characters at that table, though.
In the concept art, yeah. Other than the captain, there's another little Celestin or whatever, you know. So hopefully that's why I want aliens. There has to be aliens. There has to be more people dressed up with full. I just need more of that. That will sell the experience. That'll make it not a flop. If there aren't aliens, it can still be good. But if there are, it almost guarantees it's going to be a success. You know what I'm saying? Like, it won't make or break it if there aren't any. But if there are, then it's way more likely to be a successful, awesome thing that everybody's like, okay, that's cool. I do really want to do that.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying since like all this bad stuff has been happening, I never expected this to like look like, you know, First Order Star Destroyer. Like, you know, this is always going to look like something we haven't been on, like you were saying. To me, this experience is going to live or die based on the cast and how many people there are interacting, even if they are aliens or droids, or even if they're just like humanoids around. It's going to live or die based on that experience. Like, if that's good, it's going to be awesome. If it's not, it's...
Yeah. Cool. All right, let me see if there's any. So there was something that was brought up earlier. Jennifer had mentioned something about being a single traveler. So she's not. It's kind of exclusionary to people who are by themselves. And this is a hard thing. I mean, it's exclusionary to a lot of people. But yeah,
It's a problem on cruises too.
Yep.
yeah,
It's the exact same thing on Disney cruises.
yeah, that's hard.
They price the rooms as a minimum of having 2 adults in there. So if you are an adult, a single adult in there, or an adult with a child in there, you're paying for 2 adults. There are groups for single travelers that maybe want to get a group together and go. Similar to like y'all's groups, like there's a mishmash of the 8 that make up y'all's 2 rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate, but they've got to make a certain amount of money each voyage, and this is the way that they can ensure that they're doing that so that they can keep the quality of this at a certain level.
And for now, I mean, that's like, and I'm trying not to be like an apologist too, because I know that, it sounds, I mean, the whole Disney experience is, you have to save money for it. Some people don't have to save money for it. Some people just have that money, and that's great. And that is absolutely, this is definitely a privileged experience in its own right. I've chosen myself to like work way over time to experience it. And I think it does. I hope that they are able to adjust that, because what I'm actually starting to see, as a side note, it's really cool that there is, I think, Dano, you're not running that group, right? Someone's running that group.
The singles group? I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
There's like a 2 travelers, like people, because I know there's one for Celebration, and I think there's like a Star Wars experiences, like solo adventurers or something they call themselves.
Yeah. The single cruiser group, like, so they can pair up and group up and share, save costs on the cost of it. No, I'm not running that. That's part of the other big main Facebook Star Wars Galaxy's Edge group. That's part of that.
But I love that people are getting creative like that. And because I went to Celebration last year by myself. And I'm really thankful to have people and other friends that we're going on this trip with. But I would be one of those people very easily. Like, I don't know many other people that are in love with Star Wars the same way that I am. So I think that is a missed opportunity, but I assume that will be something that, like, after they figure out the first 6 months, as with every business, like, let us just get this thing off and running. And then, like, now we have data to give us better direction of where we're going. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. There we go. So one question I've got for you guys, and maybe you haven't decided yet, but Resistance, First Order, Scoundrel. How are you playing this, and do you think you might change? Because you can.
I kind of want to go evil.
Yeah?
But I don't know.
Here's the thing: if she goes evil, does that mean I have to go evil because I'm going to be with her the entire time?
You don't have to.
Nope.
You each get to make your own choices.
But like, if I'm evil, do I get to do lightsaber training?
Yeah.
Because she could be like a spy or something.
A Sith?
The First Order.
Okay. Yeah, it's true.
I think I want to be like a scoundrel, because then you kind of get to play both sides. And
Yeah, or you can do a mix of all of them. Mike, how about yourself?
I think that's always, I love personally, I mean, like, my general philosophy is kind of like sitting in the middle of listening to everyone's, especially after the past couple of years. I'm like, I don't feel like I side with anyone's opinion, because I understand both sides. I feel like naturally I'm a scoundrel in the sense of I'm with Peter on that. I kind of want to like dip my toes into both storylines. I kind of want to see if the First Order comes up to me and they're like, do you know where the rebel leader Chewbacca is? I'll be like, hey man, for the right price, I might be able to help you in any way I can.
Yep. How many credits do you get, right?
Like Mike's there.
Yeah,
for
right.
Mike.
Like,
yeah.
Give me a, if you got a drink token to the old Sublight Lounge, I might be able to sing like a bird. It depends. So I think that's a really fun way to approach it. So Peter, you'll have to let me know how far you went with your storylines to see if we're lined up.
Real quick, I want to say a big thank you to Island Fett for sending in a big super chat saying, here's for some off of the menu drinks, you guys. Have fun. Thank you so much, Island Fett. We will I'll definitely be
It'll be on
drinking
in
one
20
to
minutes.
you. Oh yeah, that's 1.5 drinks.
Check out his work too. I'm gonna have him on. I host a side podcast about armor building and costuming, and I'm gonna have him on in the next couple episodes. He's an incredible painter, like incredible.
Awesome.
So, thanks for checking in, buddy. Good to see you.
Awesome. All right, Sarah, what side are you playing?
I want to dress like I am with the First Order. I want to be Lando, essentially. I want to look like Lando.
Okay.
Oh,
But
nice.
Cape?
I want
Cape
capes.
full.
I want some nice, clean lines, but I want to support the Resistance. So I don't know. I may just show up and see where the winds take me.
Gotcha. And so you're going with your family, though?
Yeah.
Is there?
So that's
Are
kind
you all
of-
doing the same thing, or?
No. So we are bringing. It's me and my husband and our 2 young children.
True
Our son has
experience.
indicated this is going to be interesting because our son he'll be 7, so he'll be able to do lightsaber training.
Oh,
Our
nice.
daughter is 2, she won't, and she's kind of like a wild one. So I'm like, should I make her like a little creature and just let her go wild around the place?
Yes, make her
Right?
a porg.
That's a
That'd be
really good
awesome.
idea. But I need to figure out. Our son he was like, I'm a scoundrel. I'm like, okay, man, you do you. I was like, I'm supporting Resistance. I don't know what my husband's gonna do. I think he may be either scoundrel or First Order, and then I get to pick from my daughter because she doesn't know anything. She just may be a creature. She just may run wild and wreak havoc.
Make her a Rathtar costume with a bunch of arms.
Maybe I should just be a creature.
Oh, that's good.
That should be a 4th option, right? Like, I'm just
Yeah.
a creature. I don't speak English. Sorry.
That's awesome. Now for me, I'm going to be Resistance. I got to go Resistance. With the smidge of scoundrel, though. Like Mike was saying, if the
Sure.
credits are right, then, why not?
Exactly.
All right, we see Jeff Clinard says he's uncertain, just not First Order. Okay, good to see.
I
here
know,
we
there's
go.
like a
Vera
part of me
Ziegler-
that just wants to lean in on
Right.
being first order, you know?
So that's the part that I'm wondering is how much will this story change us? Are there going to be elements of the story that make us question that? I want to be Resistance. Yeah, I do. But is there something that makes me maybe want to betray the Resistance? Is there something or a story element that I'm like, oh, I really want to see what that is? And I know I'm not going to get to see that if I don't play this angle they just gave me. Like, are they going to give us those kind of conflicts? Because it sounds like in the story they gave us about Captain Kevin, she is conflicted in a way on selling out the Resistance because that's part of the backstory they're building for her.
Right.
Is that she, that's why the Resistance is there. They've noticed some activity tied to everywhere the Halcyon has been. A pocket of the Resistance opens up after they leave. So the First Order noticed it, and they're on board saying, hey, what's going on here? So I wonder how us as characters ourselves are going to be hit with those kind of conflicts and those choices to make.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I want to go. I'm very much a people pleaser and a rule follower, so I'm kind of scared to like support the First Order, or even like I'm scared to support the First Order because I don't want to let down the Resistance. But then I also don't want to sneak around and do Resistance things if that's going to get me in trouble with the First Order. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just build a cool backstory and just show up and see what happens because I'm so nervous.
That's great.
Someone, Jeffrey's suggesting a Jawa costume for your
Yeah.
daughter.
good.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be really good.
I saw Lothcat on there. She loves cats,
Ooh.
so I think that might be the winner right there.
A little Ewok.
Maybe I could,
that
like-
could be good.
Maybe I can make her a droid, just like drop something over her and let her scoot around.
Let's just get
Tire
a
herself out.
trash can, cut the head off.
Perfect.
It'll be fine. Poke a couple holes.
Sarah, are you able to? I just see a comment that keeps coming back on here. Are you able to help international travelers yet?
I'm not. I wish I
Okay.
could. I would love to, but no, I can't book any international. No Canada. No, only stateside.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry to bring the mood down.
Oh. All right, guys. I think it's just about time to wind down. To just about 8 o'clock. So, someone was asking for channel names for everybody. Now, Sarah, you're not on YouTube yet,
Not
but
yet.
it's starting soon. So, for the
It's starting
meantime,
soon.
where should people follow you?
In the meantime, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sarah J. Mack. I am a travel agent for Carry On the Magic, and I can help you book Starcruiser, Disney vacations, Universal, any kind of vacations, really. But the whole reason we're here is Starcruiser and Disney. And my services are completely free to use. It does not cost you anything. Disney pays me directly, so you're paying for a travel agent whether you use one or not.
Awesome. All right, next up, Mike, Hondo Supply. Tell us about where people can find you and what Star Wars projects you're up to.
Yeah. Well, I host an episode. I'm part of the Thank the Maker network. That's a couple guys from some pretty big bands you might know, between Bayside and Story of the Year and Yellow Card. We have a really fun podcast called Thank the Maker. And I host a podcast about armor building as a Star Wars costume club stormtrooper called Armor Party. And I actually just talked to Frank Ippolito, who was the dock worker in Mandalorian Season 2, the Mount Calamari that watched the Razor Crest fall from the sky. And his company, actually, he owns the studio that did Moff Gideon, Cara Dune, and Lang from Michael Bihn's character. So I had a great discussion with him. It's really cool to learn about that. If you're into behind the scenes stuff, it's a podcast definitely for you. But most people know me as Hondo Supply. And I make a lot of Galaxy's Edge inspired trinkets. It's really cool to see some people in here. Thank you so much for everyone who's I've been able to make and bring your experience to life and make it a little bit more immersive. I'm honored for everyone who's been able to pick up a badge. I'm most known for the ID badges. So find me at Hondo Supply on Instagram. It's where I'm most active. And man, I can't wait to go on this freaking trip. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go.
All right, and I've got Peter and Kitra. Tell us about what you guys do in case people don't already know.
I just want to say Hondo Supply is the best supply. You tell me
Agreed.
about us.
We have a fun, silly little YouTube channel called Ordinary Adventures. We like all things Disney and Star Wars, and we love to frequent Galaxy's Edge. It's one of our favorite places. We just like to have fun. And we're very excited. We can't wait. I want to paint my face now, I think. It's decided. I don't know. That'll be a surprise.
Let's go
So,
have
yeah,
these
we're
on
gonna
an
be-
airbrush.
Yeah. We're going to be there on the very first voyage, and we're going to film as much as we can. So subscribe if you want to check it out.
Awesome. Thank everybody, Sarah, Peter, Kitra, Mike, Brian, who's here earlier. Thank all of you for being a part of this live chat, for keeping everything so positive, for just, doing what we do. I think this needed to happen, I think. I think the internet needed us. They needed to see that not everybody's on this negative hate train about the Starcruiser, and we can be real about it and talk that, point out that, it's not perfect. It's not looking great, but we still have that optimism. We still hold that little bit of a spark. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watching, everyone who shared this video, all of it. I appreciate every single one of you. And until next time, don't be a moof milker. Be the spark.